Welcome to another episode of It Had to Happen, the People's Podcast. And today I want to talk to you about the Meetup spot. I didn't even tell you who I was. I'm so excited. My name is Crystal Carter. I'm the host. Welcome. If this is your first time, please like, subscribe, show your girl some love because we out here trying. You know what I'm saying? Everything isn't perfect, but we're trying and it shows. But back to the subject. I want to talk to you about the Meetup spot. Think about your relationship. This is a concept that I came up with talking to my homegirl, Denise, a few months ago, and we were talking about the Meetup spot. We were talking about relationships, and she's a great friend. Excuse me. Denise is a great friend, and what I really love about her is that she always makes sure before we get off the phone, makes sure that I know that she loves me, that she appreciates our friendship, and she thanks God for our friendship. So we were talking about the Meetup spot. You know how friendships that don't stand the test of time, right? Or friendships where the dynamic shifts, after 5 years, 10, 15, 20 years, a lifetime, the dynamics shift. And you often wonder, like, what is happening? Like, that was my homie, that was my friend. Like, why is my relationship being trouble? And this could be romantic or platonic. What is happening with my relationship with person XY that we can't seem to maintain the same level of interest, the same level of loyalty, the same level of love that we had all those years ago? And the answer to that question, what I firmly believe, is that relationships that last often reside at the meetup spot. Now, where is the meetup spot, Crystal? Like, what are you talking about? Is it the bar? Nope. Is it the club? Nope. Is it the basketball game? Nope. Is it the park with our kids? No, the meetup spot is in God's presence. Relationships that stand the test of time are often in the meetup spot. That's where all of your relationships that stand the test of time, whether they started at the meetup spot, which is where me and Denise started, we started in a space where God was using and growing us up beyond. We were done with the milk. We were on to the meat. Okay. You can't see me, but I'm doing the clock it finger things. Our meetup spot was in God's presence. And when you think about the relationships that you have that stand the test of time, is because at one point or another you went to the meetup spot, and eventually they came to the meetup spot, or you invited them to the meetup spot. And those relationships are the ones that stand the test of time, because now you have a different level, you have a different foundation for how you see each other. You have a different foundation for how you interact with one another. Hell, you have a different foundation of how you spend your time together. Friendships that don't grow in that meetup spot often fade away. And we wonder why, like, God, like, we spending time together. Why am I losing people? Because they're not committed to the meetup spot. They meeting up with the enemy, baby. You meeting up with God. They can't hang with us. They not like us. That's why. The meetups, and there are people who, like, when I said that the first time, you thought of individuals in your head who you're like, yeah, that's true. She not at the meetup spot. He not at the meetup spot. And you don't do it in a way that's judgmental. You just acknowledging, like, hey, I'm growing differently. I'm moving differently now. What I did at 19, I'm not trying to do at 29. What I did at 29, I ain't trying to do at 39. I'm trying to grow, not only as an individual, but also in my relationship with Christ. And that's going to require me to be at the meetup spot a little more often than on a Sunday. That's going to require me to talk a little different when we having a conversation. That's going to require me to show up differently and serve in a way that acknowledges that I have been at the meetup spot. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This just came to me. It's raining at the meetup spot. And there are two types of people that go through the rain. Those with an umbrella and those without. Leave your umbrella at home when you come to the meetup spot and let the rain touch you. The rain in this example are God's blessings, God's lessons, God's words. Let them rain down on you at the meetup spot. Don't be so judgmental or try to take your old ways with you to the meetup spot. That's the umbrella. I'm going to say that again. Don't take your old ways with you to the meetup spot. It's like having an umbrella in the rain. You're going to be protected from all the goodness that's raining down on you from above. Think about those relationships. Here's the thing. If you have a relationship that is, you're in the midst of losing that person, whether it's a friendship or a relationship, invite them to the meetup spot. That can change the trajectory of your entire relationship if you meet up at the spot. Because here's the thing. Oh, thank you, Lord. If you meet up at the meetup spot failing, God hasn't failed. And I know you special, boo-boo, but He's not going to start with you. He's not going to fail you. Now, here's the thing. What if, Crystal, we at the meetup spot and the relationship still ended? Like, what happened? Why is that my voice when I'm trying to mimic y'all? Why can't you sound regular in my head? You just can't. I'm sorry. But the relationship still ended and we was both at the meetup spot. Okay. Great point, sis. Either A, you both weren't at the meetup spot, or B, in the meetup spot, you both discovered new versions of yourself that are not compatible. God saw that and removed it to make room for the relationship that you need. You see what I'm saying? The meetup spot is the key to successful relationships. The meetup spot is the key to successful relationships. Meet up at the spot, I dare you. Looking for a husband. And here's the thing. I'm gonna do something that I had not planned on doing. But I'm going thumbing through my Bible right now to get to Peter, 2 Peter, I believe. Because I read something recently that was, well, I was like, that challenged something that I thought of myself. Y'all, I wish I knew these books of the Bible in order like some folks. I have to thumb through or go all the way to the front and then go to the list of the books of Bibles and find my boy Peter. And then go back to the number because I don't know my books of the Bible in order. Okay. Here we are. 1 Peter 3. Okay, let me read it. It says, in the same way, you wives must accept authority of your husbands. Did you hear that? Hold on. Let me keep going. Then, even if some refuse to obey the good news, your godly lives will speak to them without any words. They will be won over by observing your pure and reverent lives. Did you hear that? This is your Bible. I did not make this up. Granted, I'm reading a different version. It is the Life Application Study Bible, the NLT version. I'm going to read it again. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. In the same way, you wives must accept authority of your husbands. Then, even if some refuse to obey the good news, your godly lives will speak to them without any words. They will be won over by observing your pure and reverent lives. Listen, let me say something. Let me make sure. Go to the next page. Make sure I'm not missing. That's a different lesson for a different day. Okay, so I'm gonna go down just a bit. This is 1 Peter 3 and 7. It says, now this is what threw me off because I thought this is also some noted somewhere else, but it says, in the same way you husbands must give honor to your wives. Treat your wives with understanding as you live together. She may be weaker than you are, but she is your equal partner in God's gift of new life. Treat her as you should, so your prayers will not be hindered. Okay, yeah, that's a different lesson for a different day. Somebody needed to hear, so there it is. But back to the meetup spot. What 1 Peter 3 is saying, what I get from that is you can be at the meetup spot and let's say you're looking for a husband. And I know girls, and I have been a girl who was like, okay, my husband needs to be chasing after God while I'm chasing after God. We gonna bump into each other chasing after the same God, right? He needs to be as devoted to God as I am, or even more. First Peter chapter 3 says, what if he ain't? Be the living example that wins him over. That's what First Peter 3, I'm kidding, 3:1. Be the living example that wins him over. Now that ain't saying go out and get yourself a straight up hooligan. But what it is saying is live your life in a way that makes it easy for someone who may not believe as strongly as you to follow your God. Kind of like with Jonah, those guys on their ship threw him overboard, and the storm immediately stopped. They started worshiping his God because they were like, okay, your God is legit. Like, that was a crazy storm. We thought we were going to die. We threw you overboard because you said you were causing this, and boom, your God stopped it. Yeah, let me worship him. In the same way, show up at the meetup spot expecting to meet your husband, but also being open to the idea that he may not be as strong of a believer as you are. Some men have that foundation, and I love that. Like, oh my gosh, I see them on Instagram. I know some of them in real life. They have that foundation. It's strong, but some of them don't. And they're still good people. They're still good men. But you have to be familiar with the meetup spot so that when it's time to join this one and you invite him on your first date to the gym, second date to church, he shows up, he sees how you show up at the meetup spot and how God has showed up for you as a result. That's all I got to say. Listen, you want to meet me? You better meet me at the meetup spot. And if I meet you somewhere else, you better be open to coming to the meetup spot, or the relationship is not going to last. Stay safe out there in them streets. Burp.